That's right, I am 20 weeks, which means I am halfway there, approximately. I am going to be 21 weeks by the time you see this, so then I'll definitely be at least halfway there. But while I'm filming this, I am 20 weeks. I'm pretty excited about that. Can't believe that I'm already this far in, and it feels like it's gone by really fast. So, speaking of it going by really fast, I'm so sorry. I got so behind. I was so busy, you know, between the herniated disc injury that I was talking about in one of my last videos posted, that actually flared up for a really long time, and I wasn't really able to be back to normal function until about 3 weeks after that. And then immediately we were working to get ready for our move from Virginia to Florida, and we had a trip to Disney World in there and just trying to get settled, new house and the holidays and everything. We were just so busy, and I got so behind on editing, and I still hadn't even finished posting the beginning of the third cycle stuff before I even got to the live pregnancy test. I wanted to, you know, finish that out before I announced the pregnancy, and then I had, you know, a couple of those early pregnancy videos to post before I could start on my bump dates, and it just kept getting pushed back, so there ends up not being very much footage of early pregnancy, and I do apologize for that, but it was pretty uneventful. Once I reached my second trimester, just like with my first pregnancy, my nausea got worse than it was before that. It came back with a vengeance, and I had just a lot of like gagging, just random gagging, even in public, which was really not fun. And then eventually some vomiting, and that wasn't fun either. And in fact, I'm still having that. Not quite as often as I was earlier this trimester, but I still did throw up yesterday morning. My reflux is very bad this time already. It's about as bad now as it was towards the end with Cal, so I'm kind of worried about how much worse it could possibly get when the baby gets bigger and starts really pushing up on things. Started feeling movement right around the 13 weeks, I want to think it was. It started off being really subtle and inconsistent, you know, maybe once a day if that, or maybe might go a couple days without feeling anything, but I guess at first I wasn't real sure if it was the baby. I didn't want it to be like wishful thinking. But after the more and more frequently it started happening and the more distinct that it felt, then I realized, yes, that was in fact the baby moving. I was just feeling just kind of like wiggly. It didn't really feel like fluttering or popcorn, which I know are descriptive words a lot of expecting moms use, but it was definitely not kicks. I could feel something like wiggling in there. And definitely started feeling some distinct kicks around 17 weeks or so. So as the days go on, Squish is getting more and more active, the kicks are getting stronger and more frequent, and starting to develop a pattern already. Squish really likes doing a lot of kicking and moving in the middle of the night when I'm trying to sleep. Hopefully that is not a preview of what it'll be like in the newborn days. It's hard keeping up with the toddler and trying to take care of our place and everything at the same time. I definitely don't feel like this pregnancy has been very difficult. It's actually been a lot easier than my pregnancy with Cal, but it's still hard. So I want to talk about nursing. Kaladin is technically still nursing. He is not fully weaned yet. But I did lose my milk around 14 weeks or so, and so then he started nursing less and less, obviously. He does like it for comfort, so he was still sticking to doing it before bed and sometimes in the mornings, and then if he got hurt or very upset, he would ask for it. He calls it minis. But it just got less and less frequent, and in fact last week he didn't nurse at all for 3 days, and since then it's been once a day, if that. Like, he didn't nurse today, but he did nurse yesterday for one time. And it's very, very short, like literally seconds, and then he'll be like, say he's all done, and that's it. It was hurting pretty bad for a while there, and so I haven't wanted to like necessarily encourage him to wean. I was kind of looking forward to tandem nursing, at least in the beginning when you're really engorged. It would help to have him to help me out with that instead of having to worry about pumping and whatnot. But it was hurting, and so I didn't want to like offer and encourage him to nurse because it hurts, because ow, because I didn't want to. So I've just kind of been going, you know, with whatever he's feeling, and he's just not really interested that much, so I guess we'll just see what happens. We'll see if he gains interest again. But I am glad that we made it to my goal of 2 years, and he did, you know, have the nutritional and immune benefits of it as well as the comfort benefits of it. My back's been hurting a lot, but that's kind of typical because of the herniated disc, and my hips have been hurting like over the past week or so, so I'm kind of worried about that because I know it's only going to get worse as the baby gets heavier, and even once Squish engages in the pelvis, that's just, not looking forward to that at all. Something big that happened this week is Justin felt the baby kick from the outside, which is really great and amazing, because he didn't get to feel the kicks from MacLeod until I was 25 weeks. So it's definitely quite a bit earlier. And as you saw at the beginning, my bump is getting quite big. On one hand, I feel like I'm not showing that much and that it isn't quite an obvious pregnancy bump. I kind of feel like I just look like I've got chub. But on the other hand, I feel like I'm really big because looking back at pictures of when I was pregnant with Cal, I was about this big at 22, 23 weeks. So I'm definitely bigger now than I was at the same stage then. Another big thing is we've been asking Kaladin what he thinks the baby is, if it's a boy or a girl, or if it's a brother or sister, and he used to just copy like whatever we said last. So if we would say, is it a boy or a girl, he would say girl. Is it a brother or sister, he would say sister. If we did it the other way around, instead if it's a girl or a boy, he would say boy. So he would just say whichever the last word we said. Well, over the past week or two, whenever I ask him, now it's always boy or brother, every time. Even if I don't even mention those words and just say, are you having a sister? He say brother. So he's convinced it's a boy. I guess we'll see if he's right, which brings me to, let's talk about gender. So I don't know the gender yet. I haven't even been seen since that 9-week appointment, and I looked into 3D places here because it was kind of bugging me to not know, but they're pretty spendy here, and I just didn't want to spend that much money when I knew I could just wait another couple of weeks and I would be able to know from the doctor. I have been doing some of the old wives' tales things for fun, so let's go over that. So old wives' tale number 1 is the ever popular Chinese gender prediction chart. So I put in my information on that and it told me that it is a girl. I checked what it was for Kaladin, and it depends on the calculator because it gets a little fuzzy since I conceived him right before my birthday that year, and also it was on the cusp of the month when I conceived, so some of them say, even though I said it was March 5th, some of them consider it February. I don't know, it's kind of confusing. Some of them said girl and some of them said boy, so I don't know if it was right with him or not. But this time, no matter what, it's a big block of pink. So according to the Chinese gender chart, it's a girl. Ding. The next thing is whether you've had dreams of the baby being a boy or a girl, that supposedly your baby's actually the opposite. Almost didn't have any dreams about that baby up until last night. It was like, how, I don't even have an answer for that because I had never dreamt about the baby. I had only had one dream that I was in labor, but I didn't finish that dream. But last night I had a dream that I had a baby boy. So that's yet another point for girl. The next thing is fetal heart rate, and this baby has consistently been around 145 beats per minute when I've checked, for the most part. So over 140 is supposed to be another one for girl. Next thing is cravings. I haven't had very many cravings. If it's sweet cravings, it's supposed to be girl. If it's salty or sour, it's supposed to be boy. It's been mostly Honestly, the things I've been craving the most are breakfast foods like eggs and toast a lot. Sometimes waffles. It's kind of all over the place. I guess if I had to choose one, hasn't been very much sweet. So that would be one for boy. Morning sickness. Some say yes or no. Some say better or worse. Some say lots or not that much. This pregnancy has been interesting because with Kyle I had mild hyperemesis. It was a very, very bad nausea all the time. Just feeling just nausea all the time. There was quite a lot of vomiting for some of that point as well. This time I don't have as much of generalized nausea. It was more just like the gagging. There has been a little bit more of the vomiting but less of the nausea, so it's been hard for me to figure out which is worse or not. But I guess I would say not as much morning sickness. If you just go over the yes or no, yes, I've had morning sickness, which would be girl. Next one is emotions. If you're moody, girl. If you're happy, boy. I would say I've been mostly happy. I haven't really felt very moody or irritated, not very sad or anything like that. Sometimes it takes a little bit less of a threshold for me to cry about something touching, like a movie or a book or something. But I have been mostly happy, so that will be one for boy. Next one is skin. So if it's soft, it's supposed to be girl. If it's dry, it's supposed to be a boy. And it's been soft, so that's another one for girl. The side I sleep on. If it's on the right, it's supposed to be girl. If you sleep on your left side, it's supposed to be boy. I mostly sleep on my right side, so that's another one for girl. Headaches. It says no, girl. Yes, it's a boy. Mostly no headaches, so that would be, again, girl. The next one is acne. If you've had very bad acne, it's supposed to be a girl. If you didn't have acne, it's supposed to be a boy. I did have a couple at the very, very beginning of the pregnancy, but not really since, so that would be one for boy. The next one is if you're graceful, it's a girl, and if you're clumsy, it's a boy. And have not been very clumsy at all, so it's another point for girl. The next one's about toddlers. It says if a toddler boy has interest in a pregnant woman, then she's having a girl, and if he doesn't, it's a boy. Kaladin loves the baby. He loves touching my belly. So since he's been very interested, then that's another point for girl. Another one is dad's weight gain. It says if the dad to be gains weight, it's a girl, and if he doesn't, it's a boy. And he has not been gaining weight, so that's a point for boy. Next one is about how you're carrying. If you're carrying high, it's supposed to be a girl. If you're carrying low, it's supposed to be a boy. My bump is pretty like oblong, and Squish likes hanging out really, really low, so I guess that would be a point for boy. Another popular one is the wedding ring trick, where you dangle your wedding ring on a string over your belly, and if it moves in a circle, it's a boy, and if it moves back and forth, it's a girl. I did that, and it moved back and forth, so it's another point for girl. The next one, a big one, is the baking soda test. Now, it says if you mix your urine with baking soda, if it fizzes, it's a boy, and if it doesn't, it's a girl. Well, I did that, and it did not fizz, which is a point for girl. Another one is if you've only been thinking of names for either a boy or a girl, that's what you're having. Haven't been thinking much about girl names. I've had a lot of boy names stuck in my head, actually, several. So that's another point for boys. It said if you're craving meat and cheese, that you're going to have a boy, and not really. So that's another point for girl. And last but not least, it says that 71% of moms are right on their intuition, what they think they're having. With Kaladin, I really did not have an intuition. This time, I have had a pretty strong feeling it's a girl. I've even caught myself going to refer to her as she or her when, see, I did it again, refer to her. So if that is true, then that's another point for girl. So as you can see, it's pretty lopsided. Now, what do you guys think it is? I'm having my scan next week, so enter your guesses now, put them in the comments, and we'll see if you're right. So until next time, bye!